Hey, I'm doing a review on my Vox combo amp. This Vox combo amp is kind of cool, kind of geeky in that it is the AV series, analog valve series. So it's got all solid state, except for the preamp section is an actual tube. Has two channels, so it's got two tubes. Has the 12AX7 tube. So here we go. This one is the AV30. AV30 is 30 watt amp. It is a 30 watt amp. They have a 60 watt amp. They got a 20 watt amp. The 20 watt amp is an 8-inch speaker. And since this does high gain, I didn't want to go with the 8-inch speaker. It gets kind of fluttery. I didn't buy it. I can't tell you, but as a generalization. 10-inch speaker is this one. This is the AV30, and they have a 12-inch speaker, which is the AV60, 60 watt amp. I didn't want to go with 12-inch speaker because it's kind of a heavier combo amp. I was kind of going for a light. My idea with this was I wanted to play, didn't want to just hook up to a big amp all the time. I'm in a big rehearsal area. I wanted something I could just fire up really quick, rehearse some guitars, practice a couple parts, still be loud in a 500 square foot, 10 foot 9 to 10 foot ceiling rehearsal studio. I still needed to be loud, needed to be light, still needed to sound good. So there's a lot of different things in there, right? This was the one for me. So Vox has this one with the 10-inch speaker. They go $250, $350, and $450. So this was the $350 model. It is cool in that it fires right up. It's got 8 different preamp section sounds, which it's Vox, so it's all Vox's preamp sounds. In that Vox is famous for clean tones, and they're got some really good high gain tones. I own the Night Train, which you'd see between on the right over there on my rack of amps between the Orange and the Marshall. I have the Night Train, and it's a crazy high gain amp. It does clean as well, but it's a crazy high gain amp. So let me take you to the amplifier. I really like the grill. The grill's a really cool looking grill. It's got a good little color to it, like a brownish, light brownish color, clothy material. The Vox badge, if there's any kind of, it's kind of plasticky. Another, I would say, not so bueno, not so good thing. You look on the handle there, and you see on the bottom part of the handle where it meets the chrome base, you see a little white discoloration. And that's just from me moving the handle a couple times. So if I put the handle down, the Tolex rips on the handle. So I'm leaving it in that spot. It is a 25 pound combo amp. So that's kind of light. It's kind of nice. Even though that the actual uh, plywood that encompasses this amp is really thick and high quality. I feel looks really good. Here's the back of the amp. So the back of the amp has, you see the plug hole for the power, rocking switch, turning it on and off, and then you see 2/4 inches. That's for the effects loop, and the 1/4 inch to the far left is for an extension cabinet. So if you want to do a little bit more than the 30 amp, a little 10-inch speaker there, you can put an extension cabinet on it. So let me do the top here. Okay, the top has your input, obviously, your foot switch. The foot switch is so you don't have to use this little button to go from channel A to channel B. And channel A and channel B has a really nice little indicator light that's not on right now. But you see that it's a little white nub that lights up, and there's the other channel B nub. So each channel, each circuit, each channel up above and below is identical. They give you, if you look there right where it says channel A, and you see 2 clean, 2 crunch, 2 overdrive, and 2 high gain. The 2 clean are a 212. Clean 2 is a 410 sounding preamp circuit. And then the crunches are an AV30 sound. So it's Vox's famous AV30s. And then a variation from that in Crunch 2. Overdrive 1 and 2 are, again, famous Vox tones. And then the high gain 1 and 2. You get a nice good high gain in 1. And high gain 2 they recommend for the 7-string, 8-string, drop down tunings and baritone style. And then you see the beak switches. These are chicken beak switches, which are really high quality. They're really smooth. You see they're identical, channel A and B. You got gain, treble, mid-range, bass, and volume. You see the power volume there is a master volume that controls A and B. And you see mine I got it at about 3 there. And so for this huge room I'm in, that's sufficient. And then we'll move on to the phones jack. The phone jack is a 1/4-inch phone jack. That when you put something in there, it cuts out the speaker, so it's just in the headphone area. And the AUX in, so you can, play along to something. And again, it'll play along in the speaker until you put the headphone jack in, and then it goes straight to the headphones. See a little chicken beak for effects? It's really smooth. It's really quality. $350. This thing, what it does, it is just the amount of effects that's going to be sounding into your tone. So I have it at 10 because it's really not overwhelming. So I had a little reverb. You hit the button, the reverb goes on, and that gives you the amount of effectiveness, the saturation of the effect. There is a reverb, a delay, and a modulation. The modulation goes from like a chorus to a phasery tone, depending on how much the effect knob you engage. Obviously, to make those work, you gotta hit the buttons. So come over here to the valve section, and here you see the 2 tubes. And then you see where you can really make some good difference in the tone. Got little switches here. Preamp switch that says bright, fat. Well, the brightness is on and off. The switch obviously gives you amount of brightness boost to the tone, a brighter boost to the tone. And the fat switch does the low end bassiness boost. So, to engage these, you got to hit the switches. And then over here, the power, it says power amp. You have a bias and a reactor. The bias is for modern and vintage tone biasing to how the amp is reacting to when you're playing. Modern is for your high gain, and vintage is for your rock and roll and stuff like that, and clean tone. And then to the far right is the reactor, which is, you see my little sticker, I put a T and an L. That's T for tight and L for loose, and it's in the manual, tight and loose. So the reactor is tight and loose for, when you're playing like high gain chugging, you want it to be a tight, tat, 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 opposed to a looser picking, hitting the string tone. So those things you would have to actually hit with your fingers. And because of that is the reason why I don't use the foot switch. So this kind of would be a cool amp to gig with. You got the foot switch and everything, but really when you're playing with, when you're going from a clean, like say I have the B at clean and the A at high gain, full high gain, and hardly any gain in this one, you really, to get the high gain tone, I really got to enact some of this stuff, and the brightness and the fat, all those switches need to be done and have to be reversed when I go to clean because of the tonality change difference. It's totally different. So for that reason, as a gear geek, I can't use this for gigging in that sense. But I can use it for what I bought it for, and that's to jam and do some pieces and get a good tonality. And really, this has a good tone. And I went over its features and its quirks. It's got the little badge problem. It's kind of plasticky, and the handle, the Tolex kind of rips, but really sounds good. And I'll do an actual playthrough on this thing. As soon as as soon as my hand's out of the sling, and I can jam. So here we go. That'll be another video. This is getting kind of long, and I'll let you guys go. And there you go, Gear Geeks. That is the Vox Analog Valve.Very. Right on, you guys. Take care, and part 2 will be the playthrough.